They're busy all the time, which is great. I have a couple things possibly coming up this month I'm on hold for. So I'm just keep on plugging away at it.
That's great. So do we. Okay. Oh, I think Natasha just joined. Check on that, Christian, if it is Natasha. Natasha joined us for as a prior co-host, and we always invite our prior co-hosts. So, a couple more minutes, Chris. What do you think?
Yeah, sure. Let's wait
Oh,
for people.
all right. I think we're ready to get started. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining once again. My name is Linda Nelson. My co-host is Monica Wolfkill, but I will make a proper introduction in a few minutes. So again, welcome today. Today's session is about something we all use, but we rarely think about, our voice. Across cultures, how we sound can be just as important as what we say, or even more important. The heart of what I do is help people communicate when they are non-native English speakers or maybe even introverted speakers. Every culture has its own way of showing respect and credibility in the workplace. The key is don't abandon your style. We expand it. And what I mean is, I want you to embrace your cultural identity and not change, be authentic, but also expand it to fit into the world that you are working in, to gain respect, to gain credibility, and to live the life that you're meant to live. So, as we talk about things today, we are actually going to have a lot of fun on this webinar. I would like to introduce you to my co-host and dear friend, Monica Wolfkill. Welcome, Monica.
Thank you, Linda. I'm so happy to be here. I don't know if I should talk in my serious CEO voice, my cartoon squirrel voice, or maybe my mysterious movie trailer voice.
Well, all of you guys are going to see us laugh a lot today, but all of those voices are wonderful. Now, Monica is a professional actor, voiceover actor, and she has also done how many audiobooks have you
I
done?
have voiced about 20 audiobooks.
And what does it take to voice an audiobook?
Well, it takes about 3 times as long as the final product. So if it takes you 10 hours to listen to a book, it takes at least 30 hours to record it, edit it, and submit it. I was just going to say, because in voiceover, depending on what you're doing, you are also the editor. And in audiobooks, you are usually the voice and the editor. So it takes a long time to record a whole chapter and then listen to it and fix it. Other things like when I do commercials or animation and those kinds of things, I just record them and send them. They do the editing because they're usually adding music or, other sounds and stuff like that. So, yeah.
That that's wonderful. And I have seen her as an actor on the stage, and she is absolutely amazing. I've actually seen her on TV as well, play
Mhm.
a wonderful person in a bar and then a corpse.
Yeah,
So
really good at the corpse part.
you just have to lay there. Um, Part of what I want to tell you folks is we are going to talk about a serious topic about how your voice can influence the people around you, how you can sound more credible to those people, and how your message can be understood more clearly. Monica is going to show us some of that in real life, but she is also going to show us extremes. Now, the extremes are always exaggerated so that we can then bring it into reality. And the extremes are also for some fun and levity as well. But yeah, so let's hear you talk in a squirrel voice or a child's voice, for instance.
Well, when I was little, I always had to play outside. It was hot and I didn't like it.
Well, everybody, how would that resonate in a meeting at the office?
Mm.
Not very good, right? But You see how the change in voice actually influences us. I just laughed, and I assume you are as well. I'm sure you are. I'm getting little laughing emojis coming up. And I just wrote talk in a squirrel voice. I don't know what a squirrel sounds like, but I think Monica
Let's
is
see. I think I could do a squirrel.
Oh my gosh,
okay.
there's nuts out there. There's nuts. I gotta go get my nuts. I gotta get my nuts. Winter's coming. It's gonna be cold. I have to get in the tree.
Okay, we are getting some people laughing in the background. Okay, so I don't expect that you're going to speak like that in a meeting, in a boardroom, in front of a manager. Okay, but think of voice as such a wide range. And we are going to talk about 4 vocal energies today that really will impact you in the business world. I am going to be the teacher, and Monica is going to be the person who is modeling those teachings. She's also going to be doing the exaggerated parts, which are so much fun. So remember, in global business, people often swing to 2 extremes and they fall somewhere in between. Some of my clients are way too flat when they speak, and those are typically my East Asian people, my Chinese and my Japanese clients. There is a monotone sound to their voice, and they might be the smartest person in the room, but if their voice is flat, their message is not coming across clearly, or they're not being given as much credibility for what they're bringing to the table. And so we're going to teach you how to work on that. And on the other hand, you might be too expressive. And what does that mean? That might be loud, and it could be cultural. I've had the blessings to work in the Dominican Republic over the course of 6 or 7 years, where I was building houses in a Dominican village for a wonderful organization called Cambiando Vidas, meaning changing lives for those of you who don't speak Spanish. And music and food and fun and dancing, all way part of the culture, quite loud. Now, how does that fit in an office situation, in a boardroom? That might be a little bit too much. So we don't want you to lose your authenticity, but we're going to show you how to add some energy to bring it into, or make it land better with a style that would be more understood by when I say the Western culture, I'm talking about the American business culture. So I'm not asking you to adapt completely. Like if you want to wear colorful clothes and dresses to work and not a suit, that's, be yourself, be authentic, but understand that there are little things that you can add, not subtract from who you are, that will make you more credible. This is like a really, really important lesson. So let's go with a flat tone, Monica. And I'm sorry, give me a flat version of an introduction.
Hello, my name is Alex. I look forward to today's meeting. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Did you want to fall asleep during that? I don't know.
I did.
Now, conversely, try to put a little bit too loud on that, which might be the other extreme.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with all of you today. This is amazing.
Okay, now how would that fall in business meeting? I don't know. That might not fall very well either. So, how would you say it as an introduction in a business meeting, in a corporate setting? You do work in a corporate setting as well as being an actor and a voiceover actor.
Hello, my name's Alex. I look forward to today's meeting. Thank you.
Quite professional. What do you think? Very professional. Okay, please feel free to drop your reactions. What words would you describe on either one of those deliveries? Did you like the first one? Did you just find it funny? Did you like the second one? Did you find it funny? do you agree that neither one of the first two really would land in a business setting? If you do agree with that, okay, I'm seeing a couple of agrees coming in. If you do agree with that, or thumbs up, thank you, then you're in the right place, okay? Because her third one was very professional. Now, what we want you to do though is understand your culture, understand your cultural values. Does your cultural value come from being quiet and respectful? Shows that you are the best employee, when Western culture, American culture actually, wants you to speak up and be heard. So, or are you too loud and too much, where maybe you can tone that a bit, but not lose your authenticity again, but then add with something that is certain and would fit better. So if you're too flat, you know, change the energies in your voice, change the tonality, make your voice go higher, come lower. The musicality of your voice is so important. And if you're too loud, and I'm using that as a stereotypical sounding phrase admitted by some of my dear friends in the Hispanic culture, use that excitement, but then at the end, bring it into alignment. So again, add different energies, don't take away where you come from, what's important to you, but understand how you're going to be understood. Okay. Monica, do you have any thoughts on that?
I agree. You have to be yourself. I get voiceover auditions all the time, and they always have a description of what they want. They want you to sound confident. They want you to sound crazy, whatever they are. But you still have to be yourself. So I have to do what do I sound like when I'm confident? I can't figure out what they want to hear, but that's my version of being confident.
Great. I totally agree with you. Exactly. Flat kind of drains confidence.
Hmm.
The other extreme, being super excessive, kind of puts people on their guard. And what I'm talking to is all of you professionals who, many of you are the smartest people in the room, but you're not sure how your voice fits in. So let's talk about the four energies. And I have learned this through a mentoring course that I am involved in. And I love the way they describe it. And I've been including it in my teachings and my one-on-ones with executive clients. There are four energies that I'd like to talk about. They're actually not that hard to pick up on. One is called Zeus. And Zeus energy. Do you guys all remember who Zeus was? He was a Greek in Greek mythology. Wasn't he the god of all gods, I believe? And when I ask you to drop some Zeus energy, it could be one of two things. It could be very loud and like you're at a sporting event, like go team. Well, that's kind of Zeusy, like dropping lightning bolts. Or it could be just certain, and you wouldn't say go team. I'm sorry. That doesn't sound very Zeusy either. But if we were to say this one line, together we can create something extraordinary. If I say that with Zeus energy, what that Zeus energy is certainty. And certainty is a declarative statement with a pitch drop at the end. Together we can create something extraordinary. Do you hear that? Together we can create something extraordinary. End on a downward pitch, makes you sound more confident. When you have a pitch rise at the end of a sentence, it makes you sound just not confident and unsure of yourself. So please, for those cultures, like my South Asian clients, there is a pitch rise at the end of many of their sentences. Try to bring that pitch coming down the set of stairs. I'm sorry, I'm using the set of stairs. It's something I teach in all of my teachings, but I want you to just come down in pitch at the end of your sentence. That means so much and changes how your confidence comes across. For instance, if I said, together we can create something extraordinary, Well, that's a pitch rise at the end of the sentence. Did you hear that? And it sounds unsure. So bring it down for certainty. Again, together we can create something extraordinary. Now, there's goddess energy also. I would like Monica to do goddess energy. Goddess energy is when you kind of drop into your heart. You have a feeling. And I want her to repeat the same sentence, but I want her to repeat it with that goddess energy. And I'll tell you how we're going to use these after we go through all four and how you can use them to your benefit. So go ahead with goddess energy.
Together, we can create something extraordinary.
Very cool. Did you see she even dropped her shoulders a bit? She leaned in. That's all the videos you've ever watched on aligning your facial expressions, your body language. And I watched Monica as she kind of just dropped her shoulders and leaned in a little bit. That was that goddess energy. Together we can create something extraordinary. Now, there's aspirational energy. Now, what would aspirational? You can interchange that with inspirational, right? But I was going to try this, but I'm going to let you try it. Aspirational. It's kind of it's a visionary. And she's going to use the same word. So we're using the same sentence with all four of these energies. And you can watch the replay to hear how our voices change during them. But I want her to read the same sentence. Actually, I'm going to do aspirational, let you do fun because you're more
Okay.
fun than I am. Okay.
Deal.
Deal. Okay. So an aspirational energy. Now, the aspirational energy would be visionary. So again, maybe you would see a perking up of the body, a perking up of the shoulders. And I would say something like, together, we can create something extraordinary. It's like you can imagine it after I said that, right? Together, we can create something extraordinary. Now, you don't have to use your hand going up. You could just use your voice. Together, we can create something extraordinary. But it's definitely an emotional tone, as is goddess, but a different energy. Did you feel that? It was like my shoulders came up. I kind of straightened up and yeah, again, I leaned in a little bit, but it was to show you a vision. So it's the visionary voice, the visionary energy. Now you try it with the fun and playful because I know you'll nail this.
Sure, why not? Together, we can create something extraordinary.
Excellent. Now, could it try it in a different fun way that's not over exaggerated? Like together we can create something extraordinary, like something like that.
Together, we can create something extraordinary.
Okay, now do you see her smile? Look at that smile. Her body movements. It's fun. She's laughing. And it absolutely brings a different energy, a different vibe, and a different influence. Hey, thanks for the hearts up. Appreciate the feedback. So I think that it's like vocal yoga. I don't know. I'm putting it in trying to make you understand it a little bit better. Vocal yoga, like it's strong, it's gentle, it's inspiring, it's playful. Audience, I'm sorry, audience, type in which one hit you the most. Zeus, goddess, aspirational, or fun. Or do you want to write depends? Okay, so we'll give you a minute to do that. Monica, that was a lot of fun. I just love the smile, the energy. I mean, it just, when people say you should be congruent, what you say and what you look like should be congruent because they always use the example if you're saying yes, but shaking your head no, that's like so obviously not congruent. Okay. So what you're looking for in your conversational partner is to be congruent. And if they are being congruent in what they're saying, there's more trust built. I work with a lot of wealth managers. You have to build trust. I
Yeah.
work with a lot of human resources people. They have to have trust with their people. So you have to be congruent. We could do another whole webinar on body language and how it's perceived, etc. But it all fits into this. It all mixes together.
Well,
And
and it also affects your voice. They
yeah,
always tell us, I know what, like we can see each other. So if I'm saying yes and nodding my head, you obviously get what I'm saying. Or if I'm smiling, you know I'm happy. But if you can't see me and you can only hear me, you have to smile. You can't voice happy if you're not happy. If you're mad, you have to do the face of what you're saying. And that makes all the difference.
excellent point, Monica. And I also suggest to everybody I coach to show up on video.
Mhm.
First of all, you can read the other side of the table. When everybody shows up and it's just their static picture, you have no idea what they're doing. Most of the times, they're probably multitasking and not paying as much attention to what you would like them to pay attention to. So, if you're a leader, maybe that's something you want to suggest, that people do show up on the video. Maybe if they have to multitask a quick answer on a phone call, that might not be interfering, but you can really see if they're involved. The other thing I learned early on, I guess I didn't introduce myself that well, because I know this is a little late in the webinar, but I am a trained speech language pathologist and founder of Be Understood. I've moved myself into working with mostly non-native and introverted English speakers to help them be more clear, be confident, and be themselves, as you can see with my logo. So, I skipped over that part, which is clearly important. So yes, I am a speech language pathologist, but there's nothing wrong with your speech, okay? So speech language pathology kind of, means that I'm fixing someone. I am not fixing anybody here. You are not broken. You are who you are. Your accent is who you are. Embrace your accent. What I'm helping you do is be more understood, but have your ideas taken seriously, not just because you have that flat tone, they don't take you seriously, or you're too loud, they don't take you seriously. So yeah, that's who I am. Sorry about that. Introduce Monica and all her 20 books and on and on and on. But yes, I am a speech coach, executive speech coach, and I do speak to many groups on how to use their voice to influence others. Now, when I say influence others, I'm not talking about in a deceptive way. I am talking clearly about in influencing them in what's important, but always have integrity when you do that, and be authentic. So if you kind of mirror the other person's energy, right? We do this in life. If Monica came in really sad, right, I would not be like, oh, how you doing today, and all fun. I would like drop into my goddess and say, Monica, I sense something's wrong. Is it something you want to talk about? Or, if not, I'll respect your space. But so I want you to show up on camera. Okay. When I was in, and this is why I realized I didn't give a great introduction to myself, was we were taught very early on in speech language pathology that we only hear a certain percentage of what is spoken. The rest of what we hear, we are extracting from what we see in the mouth, in the voice, or hearing in the voice. So, what we see is putting those words together. We don't hear every individual sound, we only hear a percentage of them. So, seeing someone speak actually makes it clearer. So, if you do have an accent and the person on the other side of the phone is a Western listener, then you definitely want to show up on video. Also, I refer to this quite a bit. So if you've watched my webinars before, you will know about the German baby study. So, Chris, do we have time to get into this?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, it'll be just a couple of minutes, but the German baby study is really interesting. There was a study done in Germany, which is kind of funny, but the person running the study had a nursery full of babies. And when the babies cried, they would send in a German speaking person or a non-German speaking person. It's not the mother or the father. Everybody knows that mothers, fathers have a connection with their baby's voice, their baby understands their voice, etc. But if a German speaking person went calm down a crying baby, the baby would calm down faster than if a non-German speaking person went in. So what that tells us is that the baby in utero, while the baby is still in the mother's stomach and she's pregnant, through all of the amniotic fluid and all those scientific things that we're not necessarily here to talk about, the baby hears the melody of the primary native language. So they hear the pitch rises and pitch falls. They don't know what the words are, of course, but they hear that melody. So the German melodic voice came in, spoke to the baby, and was able to calm the baby quicker. Okay, how does that translate to us? American English speakers hear that pattern, that intonation, that melody, that pitch rise and pitch fall. So if you have an accent and you speak in an intonation pattern similar to an American intonation pattern, which is starting out at your optimal pitch, having a pitch rise and walking down a set of stairs, even if you have what would be called a typically heavy accent, the words are understood better by American ears. Okay, so this whole vocal tonality, intonation, pitch rising, pitch falls, that is all really important to getting your message across. What we're about is trying to reduce miscommunication and disconnects and people not getting the opportunities in jobs in life that they could get if they could speak with clarity, confidence, and get their message across. How's that resonating with you, Monica?
All of it resonates. I didn't know about that study, but it's very interesting. And I noticed that too. I've dealt with people I've got some clients that are in Spain and Greece and Italy, and you really have to listen when they're talking to you. So I feel that it's true. It's very true.
Okay, so thank you for the feedback, and let's do a little more on that cultural adaptation segment. And we talked about how every culture has its own way of showing respect and credibility, and that the key is not to abandon your style, but to expand it. We touched on that in the beginning, but we are going to have Monica give us some examples of a formal tone, which is kind of reserved, a warm relational tone, and a Western executive tone. Now, when I say Western executive tone, I'm not saying that that is what you need to sound like, okay? But it's what, if we want to say expand it, know that that is what they're hearing. And if you can adapt in some ways, but still be authentic, then it would probably be beneficial for you. If that doesn't feel comfortable for you, be who you are. Okay, we're just giving you tips and tools that could raise your credibility in the world, in life, and at work. So, can you read us some of these? And I want you all to really listen to hear if you can pick up those small differentiators. Have fun.
It is my honor to contribute to this discussion.
Now, what tone was that?
Formal.
Formal. Okay, great. Did everybody hear that? Okay, can you repeat that one more time?
It is my honor to contribute to this discussion.
Doesn't it sound like she's standing in front of a podium? Taking an acceptance speech?
My friends, I'm so grateful we are here together today.
That was definitely warm and relational. Thank you. And what about a Western executive tone? I wonder if that's going to sound much different than the formal tone. Let's see.
Here's what matters most, and here's how we'll achieve it.
Wow, that wasn't too loud, but it was very decisive, certain. I really like that. here's what matters most, and here's how we'll achieve it. It's a declarative statement. It ends on a downward pitch. It sounds confident. Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome. It was fun.
See how each one lands differently? Same person, different impact. It's like changing outfits. Sometimes you need the suit, sometimes you need the sneakers.
Definitely.
Okay, so how about we practice a little bit? We're doing well on time. Let's practice just quickly. I know you're there alone in front of your computer, but I want you to say this line out loud wherever you are. Thank you for being here. First, do it flatter than normal, which would be what, Monica?
Thank you for being here.
Oh, gosh, she really wants me to wants to make me fall asleep. And now add more energy than usual.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, wow. You know, that bordered, I think it was aspirational, but it could have bordered goddess. And I think that they overlap sometimes. So,
Mhm.
um, so I think in any questions, by the way, I haven't been asking enough for questions. Please drop your questions. Okay. Christian, you seeing any questions?
Yeah, so far, not seeing anything yet, but I'll definitely await the Q&A
Oh,
section.
okay,
So,
sounds good. Actually, wait, someone's typing in, what's the difference again between aspirational and goddess? Okay. I can explain that again. Thank you for that question. Okay, so aspirational is a little more perky. I don't know if that's a word that will translate across cultures, but a little more exciting. It's not fun, but it is definitely uplifting. When we talk about aspirational, we often refer to Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. It's like, I have a dream that all men are created equal, right? That's like, it's a visionary. Now, the goddess energy again is more empathetic, more, he wouldn't have said, I have a dream that all men are created equal. Like that would not move people to where he wanted to move people in that speech. And if you don't know the Martin Luther King dream, speech, I Have a Dream, it is something that you should look at on YouTube because it was absolutely amazing and it really moved a nation. Unfortunately, it was many, many years ago and he was assassinated. In my honest opinion, it hasn't moved our country far enough. However, it is a classic example of an aspirational speech. Um, Thoughts on that, Monica?
You hit the nail on the head. The only thing I would say is, to me, goddess is like a mother talking to a child. It's very warm. It's very, or like our best friends talking to each other. It's very warm and you know each other, like you know who you're talking to. And aspirational to me is, like you said, looking towards the future, if you want to look at it that way. Or, you're inspiring people to, do what you want them to do, to join this group or whatever it is you want them to do, just like the I Have a Dream speech.
Excellent, excellent. Now, your voice is the bridge between intent and impact. Expanding your range gives you choices, and choices give you power. So, what I'm asking you to do is think about these four energies and where you hear them. That's your first assignment, is where do you hear them? Because you're probably doing a lot of them. But now the goal is to add them to your speaking engagements so that you can be even a more powerful speaker, a more influential speaker, and get your message across better. So I think a reflection for you all is, where can you expand your range? Bringing energy to quiet moments or stillness to passionate ones. Drop one word in the chat before you leave so it sticks, or before we move to the Q&A. Which energy did you like? Which energy do you feel you do a lot of? Which energy would you like to practice? That would be like something that you can walk away with. Like, I really like the way Monica did this, and even though it was exaggerated, I can tone it down and make it my own. So, I think you had in your voiceover tapes, we used to listen to them, laugh our tails off. But you had, I think, like a very secretarial one, like a very proper secretary one. Did
Like
you?
the phone voice.
Yeah, the phone voice. Can you drop into that?
Thank you for calling. Well, I need a company name. Let's see. We'll do Be Understood.
Okay.
Thank you for calling Be Understood. Please leave your message and we'll return your call as soon as possible.
You sound like a recording. You really do.
I've actually played a computer in an animation thing, so yeah.
How does that go?
Well, I was a British computer on a spaceship. So let's see. Oh, I got to think of a line or something. Rockets firing. Warp speed. They were all short lines.
Okay, well, keep going because I'm thinking of Star Wars.
I know, right? So, the planet below is not sufficient for survival.
Do you have any, I mean, other than British accents, do you have any other accents that you like to do or
The
have?
only other one I do is Southern, honey.
Okay, for you who didn't pick up on that, so America has its dialects as well as other countries. And so what Monica and I are bantering back and forth with is kind of a standard American accent where you can't really, it doesn't mean standard like it's the standard you should have. It means you can't really identify what part of the country we're from. So if I said, hey, let's grab a cup of coffee, someone might say, oh my gosh, that person's from New York. I grab a cup of coffee. And what Monica did was a Southern accent. And just do that, hit me with that one again, because that really made me laugh.
Sometimes we like tea without sugar down here, honey.
Okay, so that's not the voice we're trying to teach you. We're just trying to teach you voices. But what are the four? Let's just go over the four voices again, the energies. We don't have to show them again, but it was Zeus energy for certainty, aspirational energy for visionary, goddess energy for dropping into your heart, and fun energy, which I think is self-explanatory. So, beautifully said, Monica. Reflection for you all. Where can you expand your range? Bringing energy to quiet moments or stillness to passionate ones. Thank you for joining us. We are going to drop into the Q&A section. Please, type in your questions. We're going to drop into a Q&A. Ask us anything you want. I'm sure if there's a saying you want to hear in a different way or how you might change it, or if maybe there was slight difference that you didn't really understand and we can explain it further, we'd be happy to do that. We're going to stay online for another few minutes to answer those questions. Please feel free to drop your questions in here. Had a wonderful day. I hope this makes a difference in everybody's life who's watching this and helps you to get to that next level in your growth. I think Monica and I, again, we've known each other for over 20 something years, and we have always, both of us, and I can speak for both of us, have always continued to grow. We have never just stayed still. Monica worked for an insurance company and a law firm, and then she got into acting and then voiceover because that was her passion. I actually worked for an insurance company for a long time before I went to graduate school for my speech language pathology degree. And then I learned to fly when I was 57 years old. I became a pilot at 57 years old, people. So if this seems a little difficult, I can assure you, you can do this. Okay. Just keep growing. Wherever it is you want to go to, just keep growing, enjoy your passions, and drop us some questions. We'll be here for a few more minutes, and there are some takeaways. There will be a QR code for Monica that we're dropping in the chat, and it will be how you can reach her if you want to elevate your business, if you want to maybe get acting lessons. I don't know if you do that. Like, I mean, voice
Oh,
acting.
no.
Oh, no. Okay.
No,
Do
but
you-
I'm happy to voice someone's commercial or be in their commercial. I do TV commercials too, so.
Right. Okay. And then at Be Understood, we offer complimentary consultations. We offer a wide variety of courses. Some are using AI technology. Some are one-on-one executive coaching programs. We have an upcoming, and I know that this goes onto YouTube to live forever, but as we speak at this time, I do have an upcoming 2-month course, which is going to be called the Speech Confidence Lab, where we're actually going to drop a lesson in on like a Saturday or Sunday. You're going to practice, get things ready, and then we're actually going to join a lab for 2 days a week and explore that, develop it. And at the end of 8 weeks, you're going to give a 3-minute presentation. So if that's something that interests you, and if you're watching this months or a year down the road on YouTube, hopefully we still have that program going and have opportunities for you to join us for something exciting like that. So lots of things on our QR code. We'll have a little bit of a landing page and show you some of our offerings as well. I do offer a free consultation, and I'd be happy to do one for anybody. And I give you tools that you can take away and implement right away. So it's not a hard sales pitch at all. It really is for you to grow. All right, let's drop into the Q&A.
Hello, Miss Monica.
Hey, how are you?
I'm wonderful. So we're opening up the room to questions and things that you enjoyed, things that you may still have, some yeah, I don't want to use those questions again, but just something that doesn't land with you. And if
Something
we
you're
can help
curious
clarify that.
about. Maybe something you're
Pardon?
curious about.
Yeah, something you're curious about. I know Zach Clemmer. Thank you for attending. You were talking about your friends from Brooklyn that never learned to speak. That's true. There's a lot of stubborn people in the New York area. So
Hi.
I'm originally from New York. Hi, Zach.
Yeah, I know him from Toastmasters.
Yes, and Toastmasters, I know Toastmasters helps you make really wonderful speeches, but do they work on voice quality at all?
They do. Actually, he speaks a more neutral, Midwestern, maybe Los Angeles way of
Okay,
speaking, probably out of training or
right.
just changing. But every once in a while, he would go into the Brooklynese, and I always kid him that he's never spoken English in his life.
That's true, but the neutral accent, and you hate to say it because you don't want everybody to feel like, oh, are they doing something wrong? But the neutral accent is actually identified as one that you can't tell where someone is from. So, like when Monica did her Southern voice, it was very clear, to the American ear that that is a Southern Belle kind of speech. Um, and when I did my New York and the coffee, I mean, that's clearly like a really hardcore New York accent. What Monica and I speak on a daily basis is fairly neutral. And that neutral American accent is, I don't want to say what people strive for, but would be a good starting point because you don't necessarily want, well, let me just say it flat out. You don't want to say coffee, and you don't want to say, you don't want to speak like Monica did as either a squirrel in the beginning or as has a Southern belle.
I
So
have a
if
I
some,
have a
go ahead.
friend from
Yes, sir.
Boston, Linda,
Yes.
that once
Uh-huh.
told me that she speaks clear English, and after I stopped laughing, I mentioned something about khakis.
Mhm. And
That was sort of it, but um, I grew up in
that,
Los Angeles, and
and it's a
I
very,
don't think I
you're,
have an accent.
no, I feel like you have a very neutral. It's called standard cultural American accent, and like that's what I don't like about the term, because it's like, wait, is that how I have to speak? No, speak your authentic self, but it is an accent that you really can't tell where someone is from. I also want to point out that when Monica did her British accent, this is something I come upon a lot. In American English, we soften our T's a lot to a D. And the classic example of that would be we say water bottle, water bottle. The British accents really emphasize their T's. Water bottle, right, Monica? I mean, but when you were saying whatever you were saying in British English,
Mhm.
I heard those T's really punch out at you. So the difference between the British accent and the American accent, that's one of the big ones. So could
Yeah, and I would say in my own voice, water bottle, like you said. And in British it
water
would be
bottle.
like water bottle, water
Yeah,
bottle,
water. Like they're almost swallowing their tea, but
water
it
bottle.
depended what part of depends on what part of England you're from as well.
Yeah,
So,
they have a lot of different dialects. Hmm.
there's the Queen's English, there's, Birmingham English, whatever. But we're not teaching
Wales.
British English
Mhm.
here. Uh, but we do we have enough to teach with American English. But
I,
Zach, do
I
you have any
say
other?
vitamin, you say vitamin.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that could be.
Tomato, tomato.
Yeah. Well, I do say vitamin. And team, any questions that were dropped in the chat that you want to bring up? Any questions from people regarding the difference? And Zach knows this because he is in a group with me that we teach the four energies. So Zach, the way I talk to great, Diane will answer you in a second. Zach, the way I actually told Sean Callagy about this, who is the person who taught me the four energies, and I said, we teach intonation first, because the pitch rises and falls, going back to that German baby study, is what Western ears hear best. Then we take a few sounds in your native language that would make the biggest difference. Not every sound, just a few sounds that might make a big difference. For instance, I had an Arabic gentleman from Egypt, and they don't have a P. So he would say, I have to bark the car, bark the car. Now, in context, you understand that he's saying park the car, but bark the car. So yeah, we had to work on B's and P's. So we pick out a few sounds, but now, so intonation, a few pronunciation sounds that would make it clearer, make you clearer, make you better understood. We also add in some fluency tips like linking and phrasing. That's another whole full of episodes. And now we're adding these energies on. And what I have found, I have two East Asian clients. One is Mandarin speaking, one is Japanese speaking. They love the energies because somehow it resonates with them better than my intonation staircase, which I've been teaching for years. So I'm very excited to add this to the way I teach and work with non-native and um, introverted American English speakers. And Diane, can you unmute and ask a question?
Absolutely. So thanks for this event. It is so fun. As a woman with a somewhat lower voice, it's great because I have sort of the radio announcer's voice that most people can hear. And yet it's funny because it's so important to modulate the energies to keep people engaged. But also sometimes I'm just avoiding people calling me sir, to be quite honest. It took me years to remember to keep modulating and going between the energies and being appropriate for that. Because in business, I spend a lot of time doing my best to impart a lot of information, and I like to speak quickly. So I was wondering if either of you, and hi, Monica, thank you for being here, could tell me any tips or tricks that you have to remember to stay in that flow and remember to modulate and pause. It's like I'm almost putting on a character sometimes when I speak in front of a room. And how do you remember to stay in that character, if you will?
Monica, do you want to take this from an acting point of view, and I can take it from a speech point of view?
I think from an acting point of view, and I'm considered a mid-register. I'm not low, I'm not high. I can go lower, I can go higher. For me, I am a character usually 9 times out of 10. I'm a character, I'm not myself. So I can put myself in their position. I don't know how that would work with you for like normal business speak and that kind of thing, but just keeping in mind to feel it and go with the flow. It's not like you're reading a script. It has to be like in the spur of the moment. Like I can just talk like this. I can go higher if I want. I can go higher if I want to right now. So it's almost like you have to feel it in your body and then just consciously, I mean, there's no other way to do it. Just remember that, you know, you need to go higher because your voice is very low and you'd be great on voiceover, I have to tell you. They're always looking for lower voices.
Oh,
So
well, Diane, another
New career. Okay.
another career for you.
Yeah.
No,
No, so I'm hearing from you, embody it, and that's huge. It's like to feel it and to go with the flow of the energies and have it rise and fall, not because you feel like it, because it's actually in the moment to do so. Am I hearing that correctly?
oh yeah, definitely. You got it.
And Diane, I would add to that with the pauses. We call it the power of the pause, and we have units on that, and I teach it so often. But pauses can be used for so many things. And, you know, when they talk about putting commas or not putting commas, you know, go eat grandma, you know, versus go eat, comma, grandma, right? I mean, that's the one that I hear a lot of people joke about. What do you mean, go
Mhm.
eat, grandma? Sorry. Or go eat, grandma. So the pausing helps you deliver your point. It also helps you regroup people. It helps you think about what you want to say next, which is so important. But use those pauses for emphasis. Diane, I know you well, and I know you do use those pauses. But when you put a pause in the proper place, and depending on how long you hold it, people are like leaning in to hear what are you going to say next.
Mhm.
And so just I think while your voice is in a lower register, I do think you have lots of fun energies and in your conversational speaking. So I just think keep being you, but thank you for that question, because I'm sure it's going to help other people who are watching this webinar. So thank you so much.
Thank both of you.
Great. Anybody else, or should we wind it up? Zach, anything else?
I have a odd question. I'm not
Nothing's odd
sure.
from you, Zach.
I'm
Come
not
on.
sure where I got the pronunciation, but I always say either, not either. And everyone else says either on TV and the movies. And I
Yeah.
have no idea where I picked that up from.
I'm trying to think about, what do I say? I think I use both, Zach. What about you, Mon?
I'm sorry, I was answering a question.
Want to speak, Earl?
It does depend. I was raised with either, but if I'm doing something British or more formal, I will say either. When I've done audiobooks, sometimes that came up and I would ask the author, do you want me to say either or either? There's several words like that that you have to know which way do they want it to sound. And part of it's the context, part of it's, the subject. It just depends. There's several
Nope.
other words that are that way too. Neither,
Yeah,
neither. You got
Just
there's
add
tons
in
of
on the
them,
beginning
trust
of it.
me.
Yeah. Um, there have been times now, my husband is from the New England area. So for those who don't know that, that refers to that Boston area that it's north of New York. And they do a quick Boston accent for us, Monica. I can do the simple.
Let's park the car in Harvard Yard.
Yeah, that's that's perfect. And that is the line people use, the cock, the car,
Ah,
and Harvard, yard, right? What the heck? So you can
it's like an
identify
H
where some,
instead of an R. It's an H instead of an R almost.
yeah, very, very interesting. So, yeah, that is hard for some people to understand. And as non-native English speakers, can you imagine coming and they know English, they've got it, and now all of a sudden they're hearing these distinct uh, accents around them, American accents. It's
Mhm.
got to be quite difficult. So just be aware of it and try to go with the flow. But we really appreciate you all in
Linda, there's
pod,
actually
not hot.
there's
What's that?
actually a question in there from
Okay,
Jess.
okay.
In the chat.
My voice is naturally high pitched and people often comment on it. What techniques would you balance it out or turning it into a strength in communication and performance? Okay, so if it's high, it's coming more from your vocal tract. If it's, you can lower it by making it come more from your belly and your diaphragm. And if you take the breath in and when you speak and you speak on the outward air flow of that belly air, because when I can bring it up into my neck too, so you want to get that voice and push it down into your belly,
Mhm.
Jess. I'm sure that's what you've been taught as well, Monica.
Yes, definitely. And there's
Yeah,
a lot of things like if you want something more intimate, like you're talking to a friend, it comes from your chest, not from your throat. So yeah, you have to kind of settle it down into your body and do a lower voice, and then you don't strain yourself so much.
Yeah.
It's not straining my voice. I'm talking from here.
Yeah,
So
Diane doesn't have to do that. No.
yeah, Diane does it naturally. Diane's got it
Yep.
just like she needs it. So yeah, there's different ways you can do it, and it takes practice. And I don't know how high your voice is, Jess, but I have a friend that does voiceover, and when you talk to her, she sounds like she's 6 years old, and that's just her natural voice, and she's probably 28. So
Yeah.
she does a lot of children on voiceover. So it's not a negative thing. I don't want anyone to think that. Your voice is your voice, and you can use it to your benefit.
But if you want to manipulate it a little, there are ways to do so.
Mhm.
Listen, thank you so much, everyone, for coming. We are going to close this off. It will be available for replay, and we hope you follow both Monica and I, and hope to see you in the future. Follow us on our, well, LinkedIn or whatever got dropped here. Monica, I can't thank you enough for bringing so much joy to this podcast today. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
It was fun. Thanks for having me, and I hope
All right.
everyone got something out of it.
Wait, I'm sure they did. Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.